relationships don't happen overnight. So my first few visits were about, I accompanied the Minister for Immigration and Border Protection, Minister Dutton, on the first visit, and then I came back in my own right to have more time with others, and then subsequent visits have been about reinforcing those relationships and working out where do we go to next. And just because we think we've contained an issue doesn't mean that you then don't pay respect to those relationships. In fact, as the Commissioner of the Australian Border Force, Roman Podvalik, who I'm accompanying today, said, it's probably more important for those strong relationships that we don't take them for granted, and we do continue to come back and refresh them and work out where do we go to now.
Is there somewhere I can get statistics on how many Sri Lankans are currently in PNG and in Nauru?
Well, if they're under processing, if they're being processed or claims for protection being processed, I think you'll find that the Department of Immigration and Border Protection, or more importantly, that Nauru and PNG would not share that information because of privacy rights in this. And if they have a claim for protection, it would be inappropriate for them to share that detail with you.
So the latest discussion is, since the change of government in the US, the possibility of a veto by President Trump.
Mm-hmm.
Has that been conveyed to the Australian government, or is there any sort of uncertainty in Australia regarding the progress of this plan?
Well, I think as Prime Minister Turnbull announced on the 13th of November, we can only deal with one administration at a time. And obviously, President-elect Trump isn't inaugurated until the 20th. So I suppose that question will ultimately be answered once he's inaugurated.
I read that the US officials are they've arrived in order to start the processing. So how long do you think that will take?
Look, I'm not an expert in that area. It's entirely up to the US. Mm-hmm. They have to obviously meet their own concerns or answer their own queries in regards to whether they meet all of the right checks and balances for the US. So that's a question only that the US could answer, really.
And what is the profile of Sri Lankans that continue to try and reach Australia? Because now we're talking of a post-war period. So do you have any...
Yeah, look, absolutely. Since Operation Sovereign Borders began, we've turned back 6 boats to Sri Lanka with the cooperation of the Sri Lankan government. That's included 105 Sri Lankans. And in nearly every case, they have turned out to be economic migrants, people who don't have a claim for protection. As you mentioned, the